Hello, my name is Ijoma Serafi, and I'm the Advocacy Officer for Building Blocks of Peace Foundation. And today we'll be interviewing somebody that is an authority when it comes to development and social accountability. Please join me in welcome Mr. Hamzat Lawal. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Do you think hate speech has any kind of impact on the peace and security situation in Nigeria? If yes, can you give us some examples?
Well, yes, hate speech have an impact on peace, prosperity, and insecurity in Nigeria. Let me take us back pre-elections of 2023. We saw where, sadly, a lot of people on the digital space, particularly Twitter, were propagating hate speech, misinformation, and disinformation. And we saw where even they were online bullying, they were picketing and targeted of people that even moved from online to offline. We saw where some hate speech online action moved to offline, seeing that impact. And we've seen where this has also impacted a lot of people's mental health. And we've also seen where hate speech has caused conflict between regions, between religion, even between ethnicity. And even as we speak, even post-election, we've seen where hate speech is playing a prominent role, shaping conversation and narrative, which is really sad.
Thank you. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. The 2023 elections brought about, I don't know if it brought about, but it wasn't as bad as it was pre-elections as it is now, during and post-elections. So I agree with you. And the next question would be, what can stakeholders do to combat the rising level of hate speech and promote peace?
I think that we need to sanitize the digital platform. When I say sanitize, we need to be able to galvanize more voices to talk about peace, but most importantly, to counter hate speech and hate speech narrative. And maybe talk to some of these people, because I believe people propagate hate speech because they're ill-informed. If you've traveled across Nigeria, so for me, I've traveled to the 36 states, and I've not just been to the capital, I've been to various communities in the state. And when you visit these communities, we have similarities. We're all affected equally, be it whichever region you're from or whatever religion you practice. So I think that we need to have more voices talk about the experience of Nigeria, the experience of Nigeria's culture, our rich heritage in terms of even diversity, and amplify it, and also build more capacity and share more knowledge, particularly to people who are heavily users of digital platform and have followers. That you can use your platform to showcase good, but also counter hate speech and show that, we are one indivisible entity.
There's something that I think I asked you this question behind the scenes, but I'm going to ask again. So there's a thin line between freedom of speech and what tends to be hate speech. So where do you think people draw the line? Because when young people hear, oh, we want to combat hate speech, we want to sanitize the digital space, they hear, oh, you want to take away Twitter from us, you want to take away, our expression of ourselves. So where does it coincide, hate speech and freedom of speech? I think there's a thin line. You don't care to explain.
I agree, because you see, I was careful to use the word sanitize, because I see politicians are also hoping and waiting for some activist or some civil society to say, oh, we need to regulate. No. We have already over-regulated digital platform. And even if we need to regulate, we need to enforce. But it has to be from the part of the platform, because the platform itself is an enabler of both good and bad. So you need to enforce to ensure that the platform does not enable hate. So I think it's important that, yes, people must continue to have freedom of expression within the digital space, because that's guaranteed by their right, but also by our constitution. So they must express themselves. They must, engage in this platform freely. But I think that we must also recognize the fact that in as much as we all enjoy freedom of speech, freedom of expression, we must also know that, we cannot then use that opportunity, one, to bully, two, to even because we've seen now people assassinate people's character on the digital space, and they just run with it. So I think that what's important is for people to become more aware, more conscious of the implications of their actions, the implications of their reaction, or the implication of what they say, and how it trickles down to how it would even affect them. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's just Twitter, it's just banned, or it's just Facebook, it's just Instagram. No. This would inform if you would get employed in another 5 years. This would inform if you get a visa to some countries in another 5 to 10 years. So again, I think that we cannot clamp down on people using digital media, and even I see sometimes, they're tracking people using digital media, but I think that we just need to educate people about it and also be careful around how we use this platform to promote peace, but most importantly, to even share, our aspiration for what Nigeria should be.
Thank you very much. So the hashtag we're working with for this particular project is hashtag the Nigeria we want. So can you give us your idea of the Nigeria you want?
Well, the Nigeria I want is a Nigeria where we reduce inequality. Because today the poor are getting really poorer. People cannot afford 3 square meals, not let alone even a decent meal that is nutritious, while the rich are getting richer. I want a Nigeria where public schools function optimally, where public hospitals are working, where children from low-income households can get timely, quality, and free education that is already promised. I want a Nigeria free of corruption, where public officials will not become so powerful that impunity will strive they steal public resources and nothing happens to them. I want a Nigeria where there's an equality, where there's gender equality, where people with disability gets the same rights and opportunities to strive. I want a Nigeria that is peaceful, that is prosperous, and that can compete in the global economy.
Amazing, thank you. And I see that's why you run Connected Development.
We try.
You do all this here. Thank you. So the last question will be, what message would you like to share with young people on their roles towards a new Nigeria? Because we understand that in getting a new Nigeria, it's a collective effort. It's not just with government or stakeholders, it's a collective effort. So what advice would you, message do you have for the young people on their roles?
You see, our democracy is very young, and as for young people, I think in enjoying your youthfulness, is to also be conscious of the fact that you can play your own role in building Nigeria and building the nation, particularly contributing your own quota, and be proud so that when you're older, you can tell stories of the journey, but most importantly, how you were part of that journey, how you were part of that struggle. So my message to you is get as much knowledge as possible, but also share this knowledge, collaborate, and let's hold hands together, because I believe that we cannot do it alone. We must work together, to make this country greater than what she is.
Thank you so much. We've come to the end of our interview. I'm so glad that we had this interview. Thank you for allowing us, your audience, and hearing us and giving us this interview. Thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure, and continue the great work that you're doing, because without peace, we cannot have prosperity. The most important ingredient in society is peace.